What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here. This is the very first, the very first live that wasn't an announcement live. So hoping you guys are having a good Monday. If you guys are maybe new to my content, this might seem a little out of place, but quick reminder, when COVID first was announced, I think back in March, come April or May, I decided, you know what, I was just going to start smoking weed in my bathroom and hanging out with you guys. All of a sudden that turned into a weekly show that I started doing. We did that for over a year straight. Then I decided to take a little bit of a break from YouTube and just everything related to that. And now we're back on the Unfiltered channel. Appreciate those of you that are tuning in. I know it's going to be a small audience at the start. So those of you that do want to get my attention, this is probably going to be one of the easiest ways to get it. So feel free to jump in that comment section. But there's a handful of different things I wanted to discuss with you guys today as well. We will get high. Or at least I'll get high. I won't make any promises on your end. But I've got my joint here. I think I'm smoking some Askum and some Wi-Fi. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure all the names of weed are just made up and none of them mean anything, but it's fun to have fun names, I guess. Although Askum and Wi-Fi is not particularly creative or interesting in my opinion, but yeah. So essentially what I want to talk to you guys about today is we're going to talk a little bit about the Citadel. So if you guys haven't been paying attention, I'm in the process of buying a compound, a waterfront compound in northwestern Ontario. Right now, it could shelter more than 40 people year round. So just saying, might be looking for some new roommates in the near future. So if you guys are interested in learning more about that, there's going to be a link in the video description down below this video where you can jump over and actually join the Discord community. Also do a screen share a little bit later on, and I'll show you some of the stuff going on in Discord. I've also shown some photos of the compound. So really excited to share a lot more with you guys in the near future. But we're going to pace ourselves here at the start because what I want to make sure that happens when it comes to this compound is that I underpromise and overdeliver, because this is important. I think that this is literally going to be the rest of my life, is going to be building out this compound, building out this community, hopefully trying to empower individuals, because not sure if you've been reading the news lately, but I don't care what section you read. It doesn't look that pretty. And I'm starting to really realize that there's no adults in the room. It's just us. And if we don't step up, well, there's a good chance no one's going to do it. So anyways, taking on that entrepreneurial spirit, we're going to roll up our sleeves. Oh, just also an FYI, I'm wearing a house coat pretty much all the time these days. So you guys will just want to get used to that. But before we get into any screen shares or anything like that, let's light up this joint. And I was thinking too, does anyone else do this? Does anyone else take like a really old shitty coffee cup, or in my case, a teacup that's just been stained beyond repair and use it as an ashtray? That's a pro tip I got from a ex-girlfriend's, ex-high school girlfriend's parents, that they used anything that was a surface as an ashtray. But it actually is pretty handy. Although I wouldn't use just any mug. I'm not using like my water mug for that. Anyways, let's do this. Hope you guys are having a good Monday. I'm not normally going to answer too much in regards to real estate on this channel, but I'll make a special exemption because I know tonight's going to be a relatively a low turnout because, hey, it's our first one. So feel free to hit me up with any questions. I see Henry Collins asked a question. Hey, Matt, I'm 15 and I want to start in real estate. Other than being a bird dog, what should I do? Great question, Henry. And first things first, just for anyone that's maybe a little bit younger, impressionable, FYI, you guys do whatever you want. I never tried marijuana or smoked weed until I was 25. There's at least a handful of studies that make it seem like, once your brain's relatively fully formed, there's very few downsides. But again, definitely do your own due diligence in that regards. But for your situation, Henry, if you're 15 years old, you're already like way ahead of the pack. So two things that I think are really important for you, and this first one's more important than anything else, it's just don't get discouraged. So, there's going to be frustrating moments because you're so young where people aren't going to take you seriously, or there's just going to be different obstacles that you're going to encounter that a lot of other people won't encounter. And that's going to be frustrating, but understand, like, you're starting this marathon. I don't know how long's a marathon, like 30 miles. You're starting this marathon like on mile 22 already, where everyone else is going to start on 0. So like, you're good. So the fact that you're even thinking about this is absolutely amazing. I really do want to encourage you to just keep learning. And that's my number one piece of advice is become a sponge. don't become hardened to anything at that young of an age. So what I mean there is like read and explore everything you can get your hands on. Growing up, one of the things that I attribute to me being me was I was a book nerd. Now, back then, I didn't have the same easy access to the internet or amazing lists of information that would be like, read these 100 books to improve yourself. It was a much more happenstance, stumbling into, good books and bad books and finding, recommendations from people. But I would really start with just become a sponge. There's so many amazing podcasts out there. There's so many amazing books, and there's so many amazing communities. And that's the one that I think a lot of younger people overlook. They're scared of going to that in-person networking event. This is assuming you're allowed to do in-person networking events wherever you're currently located. But go to those in-person networking events, even if you are super young, because honestly, if you're willing to just be open and honest, people will latch on to you and want to help you out just because of the uniqueness, the novelty of your situation. So whether your parents are filthy rich or dirt poor, again, people aren't going to care at a networking event. They're going to be wildly impressed you're 15 and that you're even thinking about these things. Like they're going to be saying things like, I wish my son or daughter, was you. I wish my son or daughter understood how important real estate or finances or money is. I'm constantly trying to tell my son and daughter to be more like you. And again, you can often find that individuals that maybe they don't have kids, or maybe they do and their kids just don't listen. They're going to love being able to speak to you and explain their wisdom and experiences, assuming that you become that sponge. Now, again, be careful of who you take advice from. Be very honest with yourself about their level of experience, the level of credibility, right? Have they done this before? Are they succeeding? Do you want to trade places with that person? If you do, then that's someone that you want to listen to all their advice on. Otherwise, a lot of people, they're good for bits and pieces, but you maybe don't want to fully commit or become hardened to one strategy. You talk to a flipper, most flippers are going to think flipping's the best thing. Talk to a wholesaler, they're going to think wholesaling's the best thing. Talk to a Burr investor or an Airbnb investor, and guess what? They're going to think that that's the best strategy as well. So really focus on becoming a sponge of knowledge. If you're looking for, free audio, I'd encourage you to listen to just about all the Bigger Pockets episodes. And if you really want to get the best information, I think jumping back a couple of years when it was less about million and billion dollar portfolios and more about people that were getting their second, third duplex, that's a great option. Now, if you're asking me hey, I want to actually start making money in this, I don't want to just learn in regards to real estate investing, well, then what I'd really focus on is going to become a bird dog or becoming someone's personal assistant. And neither of these maybe sound particularly flashy or sexy, but honestly, if I had to do things all over again and I was starting from scratch, I'd be trying to weasel my way into working for people, becoming their drivers, personal assistants, their gophers, whatever it took in order to, again, just be exposed to them and their ecosystem. So let me get this lit up again because this has gone out on me. But when I originally quit my day job, guys, understand that I quit my day job at a pharmaceutical company, working as the sole financial controller for a publicly traded entity. At that point in time, my entire compensation package was over 6 figures. Quit that because I decided I was done with the rat race, didn't want to be in that corporate world anymore, just completely tapping out and wanted to go on my own path. And one of the first things I did was started trolling on Kijiji, looking for weird opportunities. One of those weird opportunities I found was posted by this old dude who was like, I'm running a successful real estate business. I need a part-time bookkeeper. Apply. And I was like, that's kind of a weird, cryptic way to go about all this. I wonder what sort of real estate maybe he's investing in. I wonder if he's successful. And so he left his email address. His email address was his name. So I was able to kind of, Google search him, started tracking him down. I was like, holy shit, this guy's actually done some stuff and he owns some real estate. Okay, I'm not going to be able to talk and smoke at the same time, so we'll talk first. So I was like, man, he owns a lot of real estate. And he owned, in fact, a parcel here in London, Ontario that was one of the most desirable development parcels that, after I got to know him and learn from him, it turns out he'd been offered $20 million. I think one time even $30 million from someone. Yeah, anyways, we'll go down that path another day. But he was offered a shit ton of money for these properties, but he was also kind of running an old school business. And so I saw a huge opportunity here. So the first thing I did was send him a letter saying, hey, or an email. Hey, I'd love to apply for the job. Just an FYI, I am wildly overqualified because I've got my CPA designation. I've got 10 years experience, but I'm willing to bet I'm also the cheapest because I'm willing to work for free as long as you're in the room with me. So as long as he was present, I would work for free. I just literally wanted to overhear his conversations. I knew that someone that was exposed to me for extended periods of time, they eventually end up liking me. If you're a likable person, or at least even if you just fake it and focus on becoming a likable person in those moments. But regardless, I knew that if I got exposed to this very successful real estate investor, he would start opening up. He would start sharing secrets with me. And, that email was weird enough that he was like, hey, I don't think I want you to work for free, but I need to meet you. So come on in. Here's my, my in-house office, so like literally meeting him at the house he lived in, but he had like kind of an addition where he kept his business and office and his secretary's office as well. And so met with him. He was like, so what's this all about? And I was like, well, I was working as a full-time CPA for 10 years, just quit my day job, decided to go all in on real estate. I got some free time. I'd love to just learn from successful investors like you. And that was it. I think I ended up getting paid like $20 or $22 an hour and sat down with, like, again, one of my requirements was when I went to his office, he needed to be there. And eventually what happened was he'd have to go do something, go look at a property and be like, hey, you want to jump in with me? If you'll drive, I'll let you come along. I'd be like, absolutely. And then when he'd have meetings at his house, he'd want to impress people because he's got a CPA. Again, you might be thinking, hey, I don't have a CPA license to offer. Again, you could just offer being like the kid mentee. That still is something that like people can actually flex on. Like, hey, this 15, 16-year-old kid just offered to work for free for me because that's how impressive I am. And while that maybe sounds silly or weird to you, there are people out there that, it would be an ego stroke for them to be made that offer, and they'll start to open up because you've provided value by just recognizing the value they provide straight up. And so in this case, that older real estate investor that I was working for, his kids hated the business. They didn't see the business as a huge opportunity. They saw it as a huge drain. And so their interpretation of the situation they were in was wildly different than what my interpretation would have been. And so I got so much value from overhearing conversations, getting looped into meetings that I probably had no business being involved in, and all those different aspects. But, I was able to gain, I would argue, 50 years of real estate experience over the course of a couple months, because essentially I became that favorite son, or the son he never had, even though he did have a son. And he just loved sharing with me. And eventually when he decided he wanted to sell one of his properties, he asked me if I would like post it on Kijiji because I was good with the internet and sell it for him. I was like, no, can't do it. Conflict of interest because I want to buy it. And he kind of laughed and chuckled and said, okay, make me an offer. I said, no, you name a price. And we eventually were able to come to an agreement on the purchase of that property. And that was the first larger deal I ever did. I bought a 20-unit parcel here in London, and that was the way I originally got that lead. So again, that was kind of over the course of a 6-month relationship, and we continued the relationship after I bought the building. But you can set yourself up in a similar position. Now, again, you might not be able to pull the trigger on the deal in the next 6 months or a year, but maybe you can help find a deal for a successful investor. There's an unlimited set of opportunities out there when you start getting creative and you realize, like, all I need to do is provide some sort of value to this person, and they're naturally going to want to reciprocate. So just keep that in mind, Henry, as you're going about it. But man, even just thinking about these things, you're already set up for success being 15 years old. So that being said, let me get back to this, and we'll jump into some more questions. Will there be alpacas at the Citadel? Yes, Peter, we will absolutely get some alpacas. In fact, just a little known fact here, had we not bought this Citadel, one of the other things I was looking at was a alpaca farm. I didn't go real deep down it, but if anyone's looking to buy an alpaca farm, I think it was just north of Manitoulin Island. It's a pretty nice looking operation there. I think it's got one of the 3 largest looms in North America or something like that, where you can loom your alpaca wool, I guess it would be. Yeah. Kyle, what's the Wi-Fi situation at the Citadel? So yeah, it's not perfect, but you do get a cell signal, and with a cell booster, then you can get like a full signal. And the good news about that is then you can get things like ExplorerNet or a satellite internet setup. So essentially at the start, it will certainly be a mild inconvenience. And because I don't know, you guys don't know me that well, but I don't like inconveniences if they can be conveniently avoided. So I've also considered buying just a shitty house in town that's on fiber optics. So I haven't even mentioned that to you yet, Peter, but that was one of the things I was thinking about. I was like, this is a stupid person problem that I can solve with money. So how could I solve this fast? And so the slow way to solve this is I'm going to get Starlink. We'll get that all set up. That'll be pimp. I trust long-term that's going to be one of the better internet solutions anyways. But in the short term, I'm going to get a satellite internet there that will probably have certain data limits or restrictions on high-speed internet. So I think my realistic solution will only guarantee 100 gigabytes of high-speed internet per month. My worst-case scenario is I'm just going to buy multiple subscriptions to it. But what I think I'll probably do instead is buy 1 or 2 subscriptions there, get like kind of a broader Wi-Fi setup. So I think I found 1 or 2 solutions that'll do about 25,000 square feet kind of indoors and outdoors, get that all kind of netted together, wait for Starlink. I think I'll get Starlink up and running in under a year. But me being me, I love doing these live streams and stuff like that. I legit think I'll buy a house because shit's pretty affordable there. So I think I can probably buy a house that would be on fiber optic for between 100 and 300,000. The 300,000 stuff would actually be move-in ready. The 100,000 stuff would need a lot of work, but hey, it'd have that fiber optic. So that's kind of where we're at there. What else we got? Interested in becoming a part of the Citadel journey, but unable to come up with how I can bring value. Any suggestions? Yeah, absolutely. So first thing, obviously, do a personal inventory. So literally I'd sit down and be like, hey, what skills do I have? And I assume you've got some skills, but let's assume you've got 0 skills. Then I'd maybe look at, hey, what skills would I be, would I like to learn? What skills would I be really passionate about learning? What sort of skills would I be willing to stay up all night on a random Discord or a random Reddit thread becoming an expert about? Because again, hey, there's a lot of different opportunities here. I was literally just visiting my sister and brother-in-law this weekend on Sunday, and I was blown away. The night before, he was melting copper and essentially forming his own like copper bars. I was like, this is so cool. I didn't even know that you were playing around. I was like, yeah, I've been dabbling a bit. Also did it with some aluminum beer cans. He's done it with shell casings as well. So like, again, just fascinating. He's doing this in his own workshop. Now, it's a fancy workshop with some fancy equipment. But again, like that's an interesting skill that a lot of people might not at first think, but hey, we can do something with that. Even if it's not practical, could mint our own little copper coin, sell them as a collectible. But I think a few opportunities that are immediately available is one, I actually do need like a full-time contractor / site supervisor. And so what I'd be looking for there is, and it would be a full-time paid position, plus you'd get to live for free at the Citadel, plus I'd be indebted to you. So we're going to become BFFs if you're not a crazy fuck. But what I'm looking for essentially is someone that can do minor maintenance as well as help coordinate with outside contractors that come in to do larger projects. Because, this is an awesome property, but there's also a ton of things I want to do to it. Like right now, it doesn't have a sauna or a hot tub or an indoor pool. All those things I think need to be corrected eventually, but especially those first 2 fast. Like those first 2 need to be fixed in the next 9 months before next summer, or else that's not going to work for me. And I'd love to add more living accommodations to it. We got 20 acres there. We're also going to be buying a 200-acre piece of hunt land and some just kind of rough grazing land. So again, there's an opportunity if you're interested in becoming a full-time homesteader / gardener. That's also a huge opportunity there. I want to get a large passive indoor greenhouse built. Love massive outdoor gardens. Also want each cabin to have its own little garden space. And also get someone to be able to kind of be a bit of a guide on the hunt land, or at least know that like the back of their hand. So again, opportunity there. Outside of that, honestly, guys, join the Discord, start DMing me on Discord, build a little bit of relationship, convince me you're not completely crazy. And there's probably very few proposals I'll turn down at this point. If you're crazy enough to say yes, I almost have to take a shot on you, because honestly, most people are going to talk a lot of talk. Very few are going to walk the walk. Like, I don't know, let's just be straight up unfiltered here. How many people have you seen stick with Matt over the last 5 years? How many people are still reoccurring characters on my shit? It's a pretty small group. And yet I love welcoming everyone in at the start. But most people just don't get it. Like, they're like, oh yeah, I'm all about teamwork. I'm all about win-wins. Money doesn't matter to me. Give it 6 months. Give it a year. Most people can't walk that walk. It's easy to say it. And so this, to me, again, as I was saying at the start of the live stream, like, I think this is going to be my life work. Gary Vee talks about VCon being his life work. I think this Citadel and the additional Citadels, there's going to be more than one, the additional Citadels we build after this one, those are going to be my life work. I can't imagine anything bigger or better than building your own society and literally doing it on your terms. Taking homesteading and the laptop lifestyle, combining the two, literally just taking the best, knowing where all your food comes from, while also being able to run your own Bitcoin node. That legit is the dream as far as I'm concerned. Working in the favor economy with your neighbors, homeschooling or free schooling or unschooling your children, and not living in perpetual fear because of what talking heads on the news say. That, to me, that is the goddamn dream. That is the Citadel we're building. And so if that's something that you truly believe in, again, join the Discord. There's a link in the video description down below. Start DMing me, interact with the community. And I can't imagine there's a situation under the right circumstances, if I get a proposal, that I'll turn down. Hey, Matt, I've got nothing to offer, but I need nothing. I'm willing, if you can feed me, clothe me, and shelter me, I'll give you 6 months just to see if this is legit. Cool, bro. Let's fucking do it. Like, again, this is just going to happen. I just see it. I would love wonderful people to be there with me. If not, I'll wait. I'm a patient motherfucker as well. The one thing, though, that I'm no longer patient about is waiting for people to catch up to me. For too long, I've always tried to convince those around me of what I think is right and what we should be doing next. And it's always a struggle. Whether it's, I don't know how personal I want to get. We'll keep things high level. But like, whether it's me talking to some of my BFFs since kindergarten being like, yo, guys, we need to get into this real estate. I think within 5 to 10 years of going ham on it, we could all retire and literally be like in our mid-30s having nothing to do. And everyone's like, yeah, that sounds kind of cool. Maybe I'll buy a couple properties. And I'm like, no, not a couple. We need at least 5 each. If we get 5 properties each and they're these cool-ass student rentals, we'll be set. Well, I was the only one that actually did it. And then I was the only one that was able to quit 6 years after those conversations. I originally set out to accomplish it in 10 years, did it in 6. And that's the beauty of long-term planning and commitment to those long-term plans. Far too often people are like, I want to get abs in 30 days. I want to become a millionaire in 90 days. You know, if I don't touch $1 million by the age of 25, I'll know I'm an abject failure. No, man. No, life's a marathon. You got a long ways to go. And what you really want to do is be very selective about your ecosystem and environment. The only reason that I can be the crazy fuck I am today is because I built the environment. I literally was like, nope, people won't let me be truly me unless I create the reality, the world, the ecosystem I need around me. So only good vibes. Only people focus on self-improvement. Only people that are radically transparent and truthful. And if you don't pass those sniff tests, you don't end up being around here that long. That's just the way this shit plays out. And I feel like we're on the cusp of a radical change in society. If you guys don't realize it, social media, while a wonderful, amazing tool, also handicaps a lot of content creators because, like, I've got staff, right? Like, if we completely get blocked on all my social media, that, like, multiple people would lose their full-time jobs. Multiple people that have worked for me for multiple years could lose their full-time jobs. And so that there is a trade-off there that occurs with the freeness of this social media. And so, like, if you guys didn't read between the lines, go back and watch the very first video I did once I realized what COVID was, right? It's me talking about being a wartime CEO. If you want to both see fear and excitement, that is it. That was me realizing, like, if this doesn't end really soon, this is never going to end. This is going to be the next war on terror. And we're seeing how that war on terror and the war in Afghanistan is turning out literally right now. COVID's going to be so much worse. I'm pretty sure I saw one number that said that they spent, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it said over $2 trillion. I didn't double check this math, but I believe the person said that that was $273 million a day on the war on terror. Essentially like $1 a day per American. Again, if my math is right there. That's insane. For 20 years, they did that. For 20 years, they were waging that war. And really, how much further ahead are we? Straight up. Doesn't seem that likely. Seems like China and Russia are about to recognize the Taliban as the legitimate government in Afghanistan. COVID's going to be so much worse. There's so much more money to be made on, and I meant to keep not saying that word. The medical thing that's going on right now, the war on health is going to continue forever. And again, it's the sort of thing where, like, the war on terror, what did that actually look like? That was your domestic governments terrorizing you by spying on you, by putting you through all sorts of hoops and boondoggles at the TSA, right? At security, at airports. It's you being fearful of your neighbors. It's you being untrustful of individuals because of their religion or political affiliation or whatever the case may be. It literally was the opposite. Like, it's 1984 double speak. The war on vid, the war is going to be the war on health. It's going to be that you're not healthy unless you're constantly getting jabbed. But yeah, totally. Like, we'll give you a super double Big Mac as a reward for it. And make sure you guzzle down some free shots. Oh, and like, hey, here's a pack of smokes just cuz. Like, this is what's going to happen, guys. And I don't know how much more radically transparent I can be than follow my actions. Literally buying a goddamn citadel, going to surround it with my people. Because you know who doesn't immediately get attacked when the social fabric starts pulling? Those that have their own social fabric. Right now, you know what communities the government's not cracking down on hard? Like Mennonite, Hutterite, those communities that have deep social bonds. Yeah, government doesn't fuck with them. But yeah, if you go to church and you're not willing to all stand up as a purely united front and pay whatever price is necessary, yeah, they'll be able to pick and pull you apart eventually. Problems and profits, what I eventually want at the Citadel is that this is such a badge of honor that if you're anywhere within a 100-mile drive of the Citadel and you're wearing this, people will treat you differently. They'll be like, hey, that guy's probably a good person. He's wearing a Problems and Profits t-shirt. I met a lot of those Problems and Profits guys. They seem pretty straight. They seem pretty straightforward. They seem like good people. So anyways, that was a bit of a rant, but damn it, God damn it, I guarantee you got some value to offer us. So I encourage you, join the Discord, just start interacting. Like, yeah. Like, let's fucking do this, guys. This is actually going to happen. This is happening. We're past the point of no return now. At least I am. I am pot committed. 100% agree with you there. I wish I was 15 and knew what I knew now as well. I don't even know if I could handle it, to be honest, Stephen. But yeah, it would be so much, man, yeah. Honestly, Henry, just keep being a sponge. Hey, what's up, Mo? When you start to recognize that you've improved on an aspect of your life, do you continue to work on ways to get better at that aspect, or do you work on other skills where you lack? Yeah, Mo, I think it's a very personal decision there. I think that there's certain things that make sense to get set up and kind of forget it. And there's also ways that you can, like, I think you need to it's a lot easier to work on yourself if you've got your money or your safety net right. And so again, money's just kind of a shorthand for a very useful tool that can be used in almost any way possible. But essentially, do you got a safety net? Are you able to sleep at night easily? Are you able to consume good food easily? Are you able to focus on whatever you're trying to focus on? And for a lot of people, we've just been so indoctrinated by the system that the only way we're going to feel safe is to have $1 million cash in the bank. So if that's what you need to do in order to feel safe, like go do it, do as fast as possible. Don't like trade off or sacrifice any massive aspects of the rest of your life. But for me personally, I do like having a couple focuses, trying to become a better person in those areas. But also for me, I know that anything that I really commit to, that I endeavor to really change myself on, there's going to be a lot of false starts. So I like trying to get those out of the way a bit. So there'll be times that I start moving in a direction of a certain self-improvement, but I know that like it's going to take a while for me to break my bad habits. Or it's going to be a while for me to develop and adapt to new good habits. So I might still be focused on, getting the last 10 or 20% out of this other thing that I was doing for the last several years and start drifting towards dabbling with something else. And this is essentially me just kind of working out some of the kinks, getting the real awkward, embarrassing moments out. There's always going to be awkward, embarrassing moments, but really exploring those things, kind of making sure that it's something I really want. Because there's so many people that I personally feel like are just parroting other people's wants and needs. Like they heard one celebrity once say that this thing was cool, or they heard a rapper flash a certain thing, and they're like, I need to have that. I'll be complete as a human being once I have it. You 100% won't be. Life's a journey. It's all about building out that life resume or just your list of experiences. And again, I don't mean experiences as in like, check mark, I've been to every single country. I don't get that either. No offense to those that love those lists of I've been to 200 countries and counting. Cool. But for me, it's much more about the experiences of like becoming well-read, the experiences of becoming well-spoken. And these are all things that are a work in progress for me, obviously. But again, becoming in great shape. And again, you can define a lot of these things. Maybe you want to become well-read in comic books and you want to really study that art form and, become one of the top minds in that. Cool. I think that go for it. For me, it's kind of more want to be very cross-dimensional because some of the funnest aspects of what I consider to be Matt McKeever is these random experiences and random data points and being able to creatively push them together, right? Create something, again, nothing's truly new, but something newer than what we had in the past. That to me, those are really fun endeavors and those are passion projects that I can throw myself behind. So yeah, I love, being like, I'm going to learn all about history or philosophy this year and going at that. But I can probably also take on other things because the underlying habit there of constantly being a voracious reader, that's already taken care of. That's not an issue. So that's one of those things that you can kind of like softly work on where if it was, I want to become jacked or ripped, well, that's going to take a lot more proactive effort to me because going to the Gaim isn't something that naturally comes as a even a thought that crosses my mind, to be honest. So again, everything's a work in progress. I think the key is that you're having fun while doing it and recognizing that it is the experience of becoming disciplined and committed and keeping those promises to yourself that's more valuable than any 4-minute mile or a bench press amount or whatever those random check boxes are that people set out for. Again, oftentimes we wouldn't follow through, right? We wouldn't take the actions to have the journey necessary if we didn't pick that arbitrary goal. So again, arbitrary goals can have real value, but just don't get too obsessed with them, I guess, is what I'm saying there. Awesome. Glad you enjoyed that, Henry. Muscles and face tats. That's what you got to offer, damn it. Well, hey, that's a start. I mean, there'll always be general labor opportunities on the Citadel or the neighboring properties. How's the Citadel heated? Right now, it's propane and electric heat. So the main lodge is propane with electric. Is it? Well, actually, I think right now everything's electric heat. 2 of the cabins are propane heated. And the main lodge has a large propane tank that you could have a propane heater on. I think eventually what I'd love to do is, again, keep the electric heat, supplement with updated wood heat options, at least in certain buildings and areas, and get some solar going, and be connected to the grid, but have the capacity to be disconnected should you need to. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at there, Stephen. Hey Matt, do you think you will eventually leave Canada? You know what? I've really flip-flopped on this concept and idea over the last 2 years, and I think it's going to be both, which is kind of a cop-out. So I both think I'll leave Canada for long periods of time, but I'll always still have a citadel here because, again, I personally feel a certain connection to Canada. You know, we've got what they call a century farm. So there's a farm that's been in my family name for over 100 years. Really just an arbitrary thing. But again, you know, the family story coming over dirt poor from Ireland, maybe fleeing some religious persecution and landing here and then carving out a chunk of land and making it your own and turning it, you know, into fertile, useful land. That's definitely ingrained in my family story. And, you know, there's not many things, I guess, McKeevers take pride in, but they do take pride in that farm. So for me, that would be like the fall of Saigon. Like if things are going that bad, like they are right now in Afghanistan, yeah, fuck it, I'm out. Of course, survival, right? But no, I originally thought I would just move to Texas and like fuck it, we're going to build a citadel in Texas just because you know you need a plan B or plan T, whatever. But no, I'm not going to just give up on Canada because you know it was the promised land for so many immigrants, and so many immigrants were able to you know create a better life for themselves here. And they still should be able to. We actually still have crazy abundance here, crazy amounts of land, crazy natural resources. I suspect that underneath all the political and mainstream badgering, there's even just crazy amounts of good people. And they've all been misled, unfortunately, because they watch way too much TV. They don't read any alternative news sources, and they just don't want to critically think because it's going to bring them to conclusions they don't like. That's going to require awkward actions, which is going to put them outside their comfort zone. So, yeah, I'm not going to give up on Canada. And again, I also got some family members, and there's other like team members of mine that I think also have stubborn family members that are unlikely to pull up roots with us. So we'll always have a Canada citadel for as long as we can, so that at least there's a bastion of freedom in Canada. So. Yeah, but it is unfortunate that we even have to have these conversations, to be honest. Does not make me a happy person. Yeah, Peter, 100%. I cannot wait for what's happening either because again, I'm so happy that every crazy thing I've done in my life up until this point, I'm just so happy I did it when I did it. And my only regret is often that I didn't do it a little bit sooner. So I know that looking back, there's no way I'm going to regret the Citadel because, hey, just like Winston Churchill said, I know history is going to favor me because I intend to write it. Well, for me, I know my memory is going to remember it fondly because I'm going to choose to remember it that way. So even when like I fuck things up, even when things don't go to plan, even when, you know, you thought you were going to make a lot of money, you don't make a lot of money, even when it was twice as much work or someone yells at you or just having a bad day, you know, in the big scheme of things, it literally has always worked out for me. It literally always will work out for me. Even if Canada completely falls apart and I have to flee to America, you know, as a political refugee or a war refugee, there's still a great story to be had there. There's still a great story that you can choose to tell of overcoming those adversities. And that's just kind of the problems and profits mentality. So, yeah, can't wait for the Citadel. So anyways, guys, I'm going to light this up again. I think we can get through a joint on this show. I originally told Peter this was going to be short too, so that was definitely a lie. But enjoying it. This feels like good vibes. I appreciate you guys asking some fun questions, not just purely hamming me with real estate. But again, we'll let the odd real estate slip in here. But let's get this screen share going. Oh yeah, this is going to be perfect. I don't even have to talk. So one of the new businesses, we'll get to the more Citadel stuff later, but one of the new businesses I'm launching that, hey, bonus, I can run from the Citadel once I get good internet, because it doesn't really require a physical location, is an NFT business, but it's a music NFT business. And if you guys have been seeing me talking about the fact that we've got a full-time rapper working for us these days, or partnered with us, that's Dan, formerly Dan the Lost Boy, now Dan the NFT Boy. He's been really doing some fun projects. So let me get the screen share up, and we're just going to be doing silly things like this and making a ton of money and having lots of fun, because why wouldn't you? So we should have that there. And so this is a little video Dan put together. So Stoner Cats is this project that Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis launched. It's a kind of independent TV show that's going to turn into a TV network. And there was some controversy around how they decided to finance that project. They launched it as an NFT called Stoner Cats, named after the TV show. And essentially, it was a much higher cost than normally people were used to paying in this space. And so naturally, a certain segment of the community lashed out or didn't appreciate that. And they decided to make a parody called Blaze Cats. Well, Dan decided to make a theme song about Blaze Cats. And I don't know, both, it's unfortunate that the world's falling apart and that, tyranny is conquering, it appears, every corner of the globe. I mean, I feel so bad for Australians. You guys definitely don't deserve the government or the police state that you have, but it's unfortunately like looking into a time machine about Canada, because I know it's coming here too. All that dark stuff being said, there's also amazing people on the internet just having fun, doing cool things, interacting with blockchain, and choosing to really opt out of the goddamn fiat system, because, hey, maybe you guys need to make your bankroll in fiat in order to build that fortress of solitude or get to that safety need. But once you get it, get out. Don't sell your soul for fiat. It's not worth it for those central bankers or politicians. They do not care about you whatsoever. Anyways, let's smoke some weed, listen to Blaze Cats, and this is legitimately a song Dan made, I think, in like under a day. This is a beat that I believe we own. I own a catalog now, or we're about to own a catalog of beats, and the future can still be bright if we so choose it to be. So I hope you guys can hear the audio, and let's just rock out.
Dan the NFT boy. Let's go. They thought this thing was a joke. Nah. Meow. Blaze cats, blaze cats, blaze cats. Yeah, it started as a meme, take the space back. Yeah, blaze cats, blaze cats, blaze cats. Got a joint or a drink, better raise that. You know ham with the art, no we didn't trace that. Smell kush when I meow, and I know they taste that. Yeah, low gas cats on the mental health payback. Made a name and a face, and they can't erase that. Minted 4 cats and the proceeds went to charity. Hopping on some apps, trying to check out all my rarities. Roll another fat, cause I need a little clarity. Other cats shook, and I know they all be scared of these. Jumping in the Discord community's amazing. Metadata updates, all my cats blazing. Other cats a check now, they was misbehaving. Got one in your wallet, got a auto, better save it. Blaze cats, blaze cats, blaze cats. Only 24 hours just to make that. Yeah, blaze cats, blaze cats, blaze cats. We taking over, so you better just face facts. You know ham with the art, no we didn't trace that. Smell push when I meow, and I know they taste that. Yeah, low gas cats on the mental health payback. Made a name and a face, and they can't erase that. Meow. Shut up, blaze cats. This is Dan the NFT boy for Project LB52.
Project LB52, that's the name of the NFT project we'll be launching in the future. You guys are definitely going off all along with Dan the NFT boy there. And let me get up my other screen share here. So you guys should see the Discord right now. So FYI, join the Problems and Profits Discord. There's going to be a link in the video description down below. Honestly, if you guys ask me anything in the Ask Matt category, other than like the douchey question of like, what's your net worth or whatever, I'll answer just about any question in there. So really, the reason that it's fun for me to still answer questions in this community is because it takes just a mild bit of effort to join. It takes a mild bit of effort to go in there and actually post your question. And it feels good to be answering questions of people that actually are following all my content. They didn't just watch one random video and then decide to outsource all their homework to me. So really encourage you guys, check it out. Answering lots of real estate questions right now. And I'll continue to be happy to answer those real estate questions, but also love answering any NFT oriented questions. We've got an entire section or set of channels here on NFTs. So if you guys want to know what NFTs I'm trading, see what's in my portfolio, I disclose all that here so you can check it out. I make some of my predictions here as well. So you can see that I made a pretty bullish, and none of this is financial advice. Don't be a dick. But you can see I made a pretty bullish statement here in regards to what I interpret to be the Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's what this little dude is right there. That's my profile. People DM me being like, hey, have you heard about this Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT project? I'm like, you mean the one that's my profile photo? And they're like, oh. I was like, what did you think that was? I'm curious. Let me know in the comment section. Like, if you guys thought that, like, I'm curious, did people think I drew that? I'm just interesting. But anyways, I predicted here that I expect the Bored Ape Yacht Club to hit a 20 ETH floor before the Christie's auction. So Christie's is going to be auctioning off Bored Apes for the first time. And they just announced the MAYC, which presumably is the Mutant Ape Yacht Club or the Mutant Ape Breeding Yacht Club. So that I see as very bullish signals. But if we go back to the general NFT chat, this weekend I was pointing out, I saw some paper hands there where I was like, yo, this dude's selling a Bored Ape for 12.8 ETH. I mean, that just seems dirt cheap to me. Like, let's figure out what would that be in fiat. And it's even kind of lame that we talk in fiat, but I get it. So you guys should see that. So let's say we're at 3,200 USD and you want 12.8. I was like, man, under 41 grand for a Bored Ape, that seems cheap as fuck. And essentially shared that in the group chat and then mentioned earlier today that, oh, hey, floor is back to 15 ETH. And I'm still expecting to see that go higher. Now, the last time I bought a Bored Ape was at 6.66 price. That was probably like a few weeks or a month ago. And again, I mentioned to people, I think this was a good time. Originally, it ran up to like an 80 floor, pulled back a bit. And I was like, yep, I think that new ceiling, the 80th floor was the new kind of ceiling for the highest floor price we'd ever seen. I was like, I think that's going to be the new floor for floor prices, as in we're probably not going to see 8 ETH again for a while. I kind of think that, this 14, 15 ETH price point is likely going to become a new floor for a while, especially if we see a run up past 20 ETH in Bored Apes. Again, that doesn't even mean that I think this is one of the better plays out there, but I think Bored Ape is built differently. So for me personally, this is like, I don't know, there aren't good analogies. This is the goddamn Wild West on the internet. But anyways, it's fascinating. Really encourage you guys to check it out. Share pretty much unfiltered what's going on there. We've also got a little corner of the Discord that's all about general world discussion, the war on freedom. Then we've also got the Pop Citadel, where I'm sharing all kinds of information about what's going on in the Citadel. Peter was sharing he wants to build some lifting equipment there. And let me see. I'll show you guys one or two of the spoiler photos because I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on the very first live Matt McKeever Unfiltered. So right there she is. Now you can't see all the cabins. Like there's a couple more over here. There's also one, you can barely see it, but it's like tucked in back there. So essentially what you're looking at is there's 8 of these cabins. There's this 3,300 square foot main lodge. We got over 400 square feet of waterfront or water line there. And, it's primarily surrounded by crown land, so government land. So again, not going to end up having a lot of neighbors around us. This is a pretty private, secluded lake, but it's literally, well, not literally, but a stone's throw away from Lake of the Woods, which is, a really cool body of water if you guys haven't looked into it. There's actually even a couple cool YouTube videos just kind of giving you a tour of Lake of the Woods. Fascinating area. real estate's still very affordable in this region. And I'm planning on buying a lot of it. And again, I think that this area was going to attract Canadians anyways because of the natural beauty as well as seclusion. But I'm literally planting the flag. I'm going to say, like, all of us crazy fucks, let's go move here. You guys can either live with me or get your own. And let's start making our own society because, I don't know, I'm not that impressed with what they've pulled off so far. So there's that photo. There's another one here, but I'll leave that so that you guys actually have to join and check it out. We've got a section here, how the hell do I join, where I kind of go through some of the current positions, but as well, like, you know, figuring out what skills do you got, you know, figuring out what do you truly want to live by, right? A lot of people, straight up, honestly, guys, let me stop the screen share here for a sec. Straight up, a lot of people think this sounds like a cool idea. A lot of people are probably like, yeah, that's totally me, da da da. If it's totally you, you'd totally be in. Like, you would actually answer the call to action that's here right now. Remember Joseph Campbell's story, the hero's journey that I talk about all the time? This is the call to action. This is literally, I don't even know. I'm trying to become as wise of a mentor as possible. I'll soon have the long beard. We'll get a ponytail going. Worst case, I'll get some extensions so I have the ponytail going. And yeah, literally, mentor appears on the internet and says, I'm building my field of dreams and you should come. I'm not sure how often these things happen in the real world, but they never happened to me before. So anyways, there's that. People introducing themselves. We're also planning a conference. And I don't know. You know, there's only 6 of you guys on here with me. So this feels like a safe space. I'll maybe show you a little bit about some of the ideas around the conference. Yes, number one, it is going to be a month-long conference because if you're chained to a desk, I feel sorry for you, bud, but I got 99 problems and the job ain't one. So this is a month-long conference. This is for people that actually, they're living their life. Like, they want to get the best of everything. They want to be truly optimized. They want to be a real estate or business or just more accountable to themselves. They want to set goals and actually follow through them. That's kind of what this week one's all about. Week 2, it's all about fuck the system. We're building our own. So we're talking about Bitcoin, NFTs, decoupling from the system. So this is kind of like off-grid living, permaculture, homesteading, things of that nature. Then week 3, you know, focusing on some other crazy lifestyle aspects. Fasting, honestly, we were talking about earlier. I know that a couple of social media influencers shit on fasting. I'd love to see the medical proof backing it up because it seems like there's a lot of benefits to fasting overall. Again, like anything, you need to, you know, dial it in for your specific situation and body. But then we also got this BYO psilocybin. Imagine you guys can read between the lines on that. And then one maybe around lifetime. Oh, I'm not screen sharing. That's my bad. This is what happens when I'm high and doing this. Let's get that screen share going. So, oh, that seems trippy. Well, that just kind of adds to the flair of it that you guys are going to have a seizure watching this. But anyways, there it is. That's the proposed schedule. We're not joking around here. And again, I know if nothing else, future Matt, this is going to be pretty cool being able to look back on this. You owe me, bud. But yeah, that's where we're going with the Citadel. So if you want to learn anything and everything Citadel, make sure you join the Discord. Link in the video description down below. Very few are going to answer the call to action. So if you're one of the brave few, fucking do it. I mean, if you're crazy enough to move in with a dude that's getting high on the internet right now, wearing a house coat, only wearing clothes that's his brand, and has a top knot and a Vikingish beard and plans to fill out the full Viking role, let's go. So, all right, we'll finish this joint. We'll wrap it up. If you guys got any questions, Citadel or otherwise, feel free. And otherwise, hope you guys had a good night. I guess that wasn't too bad. We're coming up on an hour. So how am I currently investing the money in this current environment? So, you know, I'm not actively buying real estate anymore, like personally. I still got a corporation that buys real estate. I still have my wholesaling business. So I've got a handful of different active businesses, right? That do things, and a lot of the money or profit or cash flow from that, we decide to reinvest to try and grow those businesses. So that's where they're essentially on their own thing, trying to grow. Outside of that, right now, your forever money, in my opinion, goes into Bitcoin, into wallets where you control the keys, hardware wallets, I should say. And right now, love playing the NFT casinos. So that's what I'm kind of dabbling with. That's my version of day trading. Because also, like, I know this is actually probably one, I should do a whole series of posts on this because this would be a controversial take. But like, fuck day trading stocks. Fuck financial securities. That's the old system. That's central banking. That's Wall Street. They do not give a fuck about you, and they're never going to really let you inside. So at best, you're just grabbing scraps. DeFi, NFTs, cryptocurrencies, it is the goddamn Wild West. You're almost guaranteed going to get burned at some point in time. So just go into that knowingly. Like, the Wild West was not necessarily a particularly safe place, but there was a certain honesty to it as well, because at least you understood the villains. They were much more direct. Rather than smiling with a dagger behind their back, they'd come at you with the dagger front forward. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. Otherwise, I'm investing a lot of my money into the Citadel, honestly. I'm buying a lot of properties and doing stuff like that. And I'm going to keep buying a lot of properties. I'm going to pour a ton of money into upgrades and fixing this shit up, and just literally making my own little paradise. Because again, no one else is going to make it for me. And I guess now that I'm saying this out loud, this does sort of sound too good to be true. And so, like, you might be like, well, why is he making it for me? Because my entire life has taught me one thing. Like, you're the average of the people around you. You are the sum of your inputs. And so I want amazing people that are crushing it on all different aspects of life to be surrounded by me, because I just know inherently I'm going to pick up some of those traits. I'm going to do some of those best habits, right? If all my friends are doing X, I'm either going to find new friends or start doing X. And I don't mean X as in ecstasy. I probably should have picked a different letter there, but I meant as in XYZ. So anyways, there we are. And appreciate you guys hanging out with me on this live stream. I'm going to wrap up, and we'll see you on the next one. Next Monday, 7:20 Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate you guys watching along. I'm actually pretty impressed that we had 8 to 10 viewers.